Thank you for all coming. I'm happy that you're here to join me today to talk about something that's very dear to my heart, Lord Shiva. This great god Shiva is well known in Hinduism and is among the most mysterious, complex, profound, and compassionate conceptions of the one supreme being. I will focus this talk on Shiva's aspect as the divine dancer, or Shiva Nataraj, an image that you can see up on the screen. Almost everyone has seen a picture or a statue of the Nataraj. I was shopping for garden plants in a local nursery recently and saw a rather large sign that had a picture of the Nataraj on it. I was immediately curious and so walked up to see why it was there. It said Garden Yoga. Underneath the picture was a phone number to call. Wow, I thought. Who knew there was such a thing? Yet this tells us just how mainstream this image has become. The Nataraj was developed in southern India by 9th and 10th century artists during the Chola period, 880 to 1279 AD. It was a series of beautiful bronze sculptures. Soon the Chola Nataraj became the supreme statement of Hindu art. I will later explore its rich symbolism and significance, and then look at how it manifests in our own lives. The term Nataraj means king of dancers, and as we know, it is a classic, revered, and well-known icon of Hinduism. The image of Shiva dancing within a giant ring of fire is among the most beloved and awe-inspiring symbols of the Hindu conception of the nature of the cosmos. It is a symbol for the meaning of life itself. The dance of life, which we are participating in every day. So not only is it a beautiful symbol, it represents reality taking place within each of us this very moment. Shiva is the one, dancing into the many, appearing as paradox and duality. We all know that life itself is characterized by duality, by teeming opposites. Shiva points to a reconciling harmony of these opposites that exists beyond our ordinary vision. By widening our gaze to encompass life as a whole, we can see that life becomes a dance between these extremes, a playful acceptance, an honoring, and a celebration. While preparing for this talk, I was experiencing my own example of this. I live in an apartment complex with 20 buildings, 14 units in each building. Near the end of April, 5 buildings were designated, mine included, to have the balconies removed and replaced. We were all given only 2 days' notice to prepare, and were told that for the next 2 months we would be enduring this work project. So everything on the balconies had to be removed. Then day by day, step by step, I watched and heard them being dismantled and ripped apart. Large equipment rolled in and sat on our lawns. Big holes were dug in the ground for the posts that would be holding them up, taking my beautiful garden with it, and leaving large piles of dirt, which turned to mud every time it rained. Cement was later poured to support the beams. The sliding doors minus the balconies were boarded up for safety, so we couldn't look out. As neighbors, we soon realized that our summer would be changed. No pretty views, no sitting outside, no barbecues, no planting flowers. There was a lot of mumbling. Then one neighbor said something rather profound. People want progress, but not change. Then, slowly, we saw, step by step, new wood being delivered. Hammering and drilling was heard, and we started to realize that the destruction was finally beginning to transform into something else. Balconies that are more modern, stronger, safer, and yes, more beautiful. Although the process is not yet over, we are all realizing that to get to this point, something had to be destroyed so that it could be rebuilt. And most importantly, our egos and clinging to the old had to get out of the way to make room for the new. I am sure you all have a story like this to tell, somewhere, or something, or someone, where the situation demanded destruction before transformation could occur. This is Shiva's dance. Here, we can be aware and realize that Shiva is not just representing the dance, but this is a metaphor for all the movements in our lives. Shiva is in every little detail, and if we are patient, have insight, and allow things to happen, eventually we come out the other end of things to something better. While Shiva is also often described as the destroyer, he is also instrumental in the creation of new life and in resurrection. His energy and enthusiasm are said to destroy the old and create the new. At every moment, as well as in periodic cycles, Shiva's creation dissipates and is again born anew. Swami Shivananda of the Divine Life Society, in his book, Lord Shiva and His Worship, makes this comment, quote, "You can witness the dance of Shiva in the rising waves of the ocean, in the oscillation of the mind, in the movements of the senses, in the rotation of the planets and constellations, in epidemics of infectious diseases, in volcanic eruptions, in earthquakes, landslips, lightning and thunder, in large fires and tornadoes. The whole cosmic play or activity or Leela is the dance of Shiva. All movements within the cosmos are his dance." End of quote. Notice that Shiva is expanding our definition of dance to the dance of life itself. In the introduction to his massive text on contemporary Hinduism, entitled Dancing with Shiva, Sadhguru Subramaniya Swami, from the Shaivite tradition, says, quote, "The cosmic dance describes the Hindu view of existence, and that for Hindus, dancing with Shiva is everything we do, everything we think and say and feel, from our seeming birth to our so-called death. It is God and man forever engaged in sacred movement." End of quote. Each part of this Nataraj symbol is full of meaning as we watch Shiva's image dance. Every gesture in his body is replete with deep philosophical importance. So let's explore together each aspect and its significance. Shiva is portrayed as a four-armed figure, dancing within a ring of fire, his leg raised and gently crossed in front of his body, and with the other foot firmly placed on the prostrate body of a small figure. Each of the two upper hands holds a particular sacred symbol, while each of the two lower hands are engaged in a particular symbolic hand gesture. Let's go into a little more detail and look at the Nataraj picture on the screen. You'll notice his upper right hand holds the drum of creation. This beats the pulse of the universe, giving music for Shiva's dance. The drum represents sound as the first element in an unfolding universe. His upper left hand holds a flame, which symbolizes the fire of destruction and dissolution of form, the terrible but necessary burning away of all things existing in time and space, like the balconies at my apartment complex. The lower right hand is held in the Abhaya pose, which literally means fear not. This signifies a gesture of his grace and protection to righteous souls. He asks us not to be afraid and to trust in him. The lower left hand gestures towards his holy foot, in assurance that his grace is the refuge for everyone and is the way to liberation. If you'll notice, Shiva's foot stands on a prostrate figure called Apasmara Parusha, which symbolizes the ignorance of the ego and the bondage of the human soul before it matures into perfection. The ego acts out of ignorance because it has forgotten the indwelling self. This figure is also referred to as a demon or the demon of forgetfulness, and is symbolic of life's blindness or man's ignorance. It is this illusion and ignorance over whom Shiva triumphs. Lord Shiva, dancing on this demon, or our egos, is an act of grace. He is putting an end to forgetfulness so that we can remember our own true nature, so that we can recall, I am Shiva. I am the truth. Now see the uplifted leg, which represents spiritual release or liberation. According to Aldous Huxley, an author and also a one-time devotee at the Hollywood Vedanta Center, this is the most critical importance to the spiritual significance of the entire sacred image. Let's think about it. This release is what we long for. The ring of fire around the figure of Nataraj represents the manifest universe, the cosmos, and also consciousness. There is a face in the fire, Mahakala, or Great Time, which devours all. The lotus petal on which the entire image rests places this universe within the heart of consciousness of each person. The flowing hair of Lord Shiva symbolizes a rejection of society, showing Shiva as an ascetic. The figures of the Ganges, crescent moon, and skull are also usually found in Nataraj sculptures and are common symbols of Lord Shiva. The snake around his waist represents the Kundalini, or divine force, found in all beings. His face reveals a timeless serenity. He is a perfect balance of the masculine and feminine energies, symbolized by the female earring in his left ear and masculine earring in his right ear. To quickly sum up, these gestures bring in the ideas of destruction and transformation, dancing and drumming, music and creativity, and of living life fearlessly and with love. We let the fire burn away limited ideas and impurities. We become grounded in our being and release into balance, beauty, and transcendence, or transcendence. We are eventually led to oneness. This dance of Shiva's represents his 5 divine activities: creation, preservation, destruction, illusion, and grace or salvation. It is a dual statement of stillness and motion, or shall I say, moving into stillness. The 2 most common forms of Shiva's dance are the lasya, or gentle form of dance, which is associated with the creation of the world, and the tandava, or violent and dangerous dance, associated with the destruction of weary world views. In essence, they are just 2 aspects of Shiva's nature. For he destroys in order to create, tearing down to build again. These are daily rhythms of birth and death that I have previously spoken about and that we all can identify with. According to David Smith, who wrote The Dance of Shiva, Religion, Art, and Poetry in South India, Shiva's dance most often is called Ananda Tandava, typically translated as dance of bliss. Smith notes that since Tandava means the fierce dance and Ananda means bliss, The two words together actually imply the idea of a paradoxical dance, which begins in fierceness and then is transformed into one of bliss. Our friend Shivali will demonstrate this a little later. This is also described in a meaningful and beautiful poem written by Aldous Huxley about Shiva. Quote, "O you, the creator, you, the destroyer, you who sustain and make an end, who in sunlight dance among the birds and children at play, who at midnight dance among the corpses in the burning grounds, you, Shiva, you, dark and terrible Bhairava, you, suchness and illusion, the void and all things, you are the Lord of life, and therefore I have brought you flowers. You are the Lord of death, and therefore I have brought you my heart, this heart that is now your burning ground. Ignorance there and self shall be consumed with fire, that you may dance, Bhairava, among the ashes, that you may dance, Lord Shiva, in a place of flowers, and I dance with you." End of quote. To understand the concept of Nataraj, we also have to understand the idea of dance itself. Dance may induce trance, ecstasy, and the experience of the divine. So friends, I'd like to be clear, I'm not talking about ordinary dance, like the waltz, the cha-cha, or breakdancing. I'm talking about dance as transformation. In Shiva's dance, the body becomes the spirit through surrender of the ego. The purpose of Shiva's dance is to release men from illusion, of the ideas of small self or ego. It is for the welfare of the world to free souls of their bondage. He is dancing away the illusory world of Maya, transforming it into power and enlightenment. Dancing allows the physical experience to be a gateway into the subtle and sublime realm of being. It is said that Shiva's dancing as Nataraj is the energy that keeps the universe running, and that if he ever stops dancing, the universe will cease to exist. Dancing can also be seen as an art in which the artist and the art created are one and the same. This evokes the oneness of God in creation. Dance moves you beyond being the dancer to knowing that you are also the dance. The degree to which dance is integral to the image of Nataraj is highlighted in Subramanya Swami's observation that, quote, "One cannot separate the dancer from the dancing, just as one cannot separate God from the world or from ourselves. Esoterically, movement is the most primal act of existence. Without this simple thing, there would be no universe. Light is movement. Thought is movement. Atoms are movement. Life is movement. Shiva's dance serves as a compelling and powerful metaphor for the energy at the heart of the process of spiritual transformation. A more fluid and energetic representation of a moving figure than the dancing figure of Shiva can scarcely be found anywhere. The poet Saint Rumi believed passionately in the use of music, poetry, and dance as a path for reaching God. The conclusion of one of his poems says, quote, "Only dance, and your illusions will blow in the wind. Dance and make joyous the love around you. Dance, and your veils, which hide the light, shall swirl in a heap at your feet." End of quote. So friends, Shiva is you. Shiva is me. Shiva is us. Shiva is our very self, our divine self. This is our own daily dance. Friedrich Nietzsche states, quote, "And we should consider every day lost on which we have not danced at least once." End of quote. So, my friends, let's dance. So please, everybody, stand up. Together, we will take a minute to experience this inner dance. This is your journey, so let's get in touch with it. Gently close your eyes. Tune into your inner music and start to slowly and consciously and spontaneously move. Feel your energy. Let your energy flow. Begin to feel the dance within you and start to feel vibrant. Let the energy start directing you, letting it move on its own accord, and you simply follow it. Let go and surrender into it. Let the dance flow in its own way. Don't force it. Allow it to happen. Let you disappear and just become the movement. Feel spontaneity and feel freedom. This is not a doing, but a happening. Like the wind blows and the river flows, you are the blowing and the flowing. This same energy makes the seasons change and the planets move on their course. Now totally be the dance. Be merged in it. Now gently sit back down, but keep your eyes closed and your awareness within. Notice any physical or emotional changes, then slowly open your eyes. So you can all sit now. Can you feel how the movement and the dancing helps to take you out of your ego? Even if you're not dancing yourself, just watching someone else dance, like Michael Jackson, or the TV show Dancing with the Stars, or Shiva, can transform how you feel. Who can remain solemn or depressed with dancing and music? It takes you out of your thinking mind. This is why they are so popular, as they take you from a contracted state and expand your awareness. Depression and physical pain are stuck energy. But then what happens when energy flows? If you're depressed and then you dance, it moves you, transforms you. You can't come back the same. When a tree is stiff, it cracks. Yet when it's yielding, it flows with the wind. A river flowing is crystal clear, but when it gets backed up, gets mucky and stagnant. It's the same in our bodies. Stagnancy contracts, movement expands. In deep meditation, yogic movements spontaneously came to the ancient rishis, from the inside out, so to speak, and we mimic those movements in Hatha Yoga. True Hatha Yoga is spontaneous movement from within. Swami Muktananda, from the Kashmir Shaivism tradition, in his book, I Have Become Alive, said, quote, "The world is a beautiful garden of Shiva, of the Lord, made so that you can walk in it with great joy. The world does not exist so that you can have attachment, aversion, jealousy, envy, or hatred. It does not exist for you to fight with other people and die. Do not burn in the fire of desires, wanting this and wanting that. Simply accept whatever comes to you through God's grace. Do not worry about anything and be ecstatic in the garden of Shiva. When people come, let them come. When they go, let them go. The world is the image created by Shiva. Due to your lack of understanding, you do not know this, and because of this, you betray yourself. Because you do not recognize that Shiva permeates the entire world, you see the world as something else, and for no good reason. You fear." End of quote. We have discussed and experienced the symbolism of the Nataraj and are aware of its importance in our daily lives. We now know that we are not essentially different from Lord Shiva. The Vedas proclaim Tat Tvam Asi, or I am that. Lord Shiva has never been apart from us, and he is there to help us every step of the way. We have spoken about how Shiva is known as the destroyer of evil and ignorance. not destroying for the sake of destruction, but for the sake of regeneration, transformation, transmutation, for recreating, cleansing out, and eliminating the debris, and transforming into strength, power, force. In other words, Shiva tramples the dwarf of our ignorance and releases us into oneness. He reminds us to wake up, to emerge from the darkness of forgetfulness into the light of truth. It is our call to embrace this great light. I would like to end tonight's talk with a poem from the poet Saint Hafiz, who says so beautifully, quote, "Oh, keep squeezing drops of the sun from your prayers and work and music, and from the most insignificant movements of your own holy body. Now, sweet one, be wise. Cast all your votes for dancing." End of quote. May you all comprehend the true significance of the Nataraj, the dance of Shiva, and may you all dance in ecstasy, in tune with Lord Shiva. Thank you. And now we're going to experience the dance. So Shivali is going to incorporate both the Lasya and the Tandava, which is the gentle dance and the fierce dance. So she's going to give demonstrations of both of those. Is that right? Okay. As Swami always would say, wow, that was great. It was like having Shiva himself come and dance for us tonight. So thank you so much.